Hello Raider Regiment, I hope you are staying safe and well during this time. This video is just going to be a resource for you to work on flexibility exercises 1 and 2. Now for those of you who are new, these are warm-ups and exercises that we do both at the beginning of practices and before shows. Now there are two reasons why we do these exercises. One is to make sure that we are properly warming up, and two is to make sure that we are doing our fundamentals throughout the season. The fundamentals are the foundation of everything we play after all, and that's why we focus on it at the very beginning and we continue focusing on it throughout the season and throughout all of band. To start, I'll be playing flexibility number 1 at a moderate tempo of 100. All of the brass have the same part, so feel free to play along. 5, 6, 5, 6. Now, I just want to say a few things you should keep in mind while playing this. The first is air, because we're not talking about band until we talk about air. Now, this exercise is pretty simple. There's not much to it. You start out on one partial and then you go down to the lower partial. The big thing about this exercise is the change between partials. Now, just make sure when you're changing these partials, when you're going from that F to that B flat or mellophone C to F, you are not making a break in the air. A break in the air means that you're using your tongue, or you're letting up on the pressure, or you're pretty much making a big change to achieve that change of notes. Now, it may be easier to do things like use the tongue to get the note, but really all you're doing is cheating yourself and defeating the purpose of the exercise. If you're having issues getting this slur down, try buzzing it. Buzz that F. And do a nice clean gliss down to the B flat. You can have a tuner in front of you to make sure you're buzzing the right notes if you can't hear it with your ear. Just try doing this F to B flat buzz, gliss it a few times, and focus on keeping the air consistently flowing through as you're doing this. You never want to have a moment when the air is letting up as you're going up or down in pitch. You can even put your hand in front of the mouthpiece to feel the air coming out and making sure it's consistent. Another thing I want to note is that yes, we're keeping the air consistent through the change, but make sure we're also keeping the air consistent all the way to the downbeat. Notice how when I'm playing this, I'm not letting the sound taper. That means get weaker as I'm getting closer to the downbeat. I am completely finishing my phrase. I'm making it all the way to the finish line before I stop. You don't want that. Now, things like keeping the air consistent, making sure the air stays level, making sure the air stays the same sounds very simple and very repetitive, but I've been playing this instrument almost as long as some of y'all have been alive, and these are things that I still think about every day. Humans did not evolve and come to be with the intentions of breathing out consistent air to play on an instrument like this. This is something that's foreign to all of us, and we have to train our bodies to do this in the same way that bodybuilders have to train their bodies to lift weights, because humans weren't designed to go lift a 450-pound barbell once. That's just not a thing that we are supposed to be doing in nature, but it is something that we are training ourselves to do because we can. So with all of that in mind, we are going to play flexibility number 2, keeping the air consistent, making sure we're going all the way to the downbeat, not letting up on the air at any point before that, and making sure that we are having no breaks in the sound. So as we change notes, the air speed stays exactly the same. 5, 6, 5, 6. Now this exercise is a lot like the last, except for it has way more notes and way much more going on. But I say it's like the last because the fundamental thing is still there, the slur that needs to be achieved with consistent air. So as you're practicing and working on this, make sure that you're not rushing it too much. If you can't play it at 100, that's okay. Take it down to 70 or even 60 if you have to, and lock it in at the slower tempo, because remember, you can't run before you learn how to walk. Take it around the tempo of 60 or 70 and slowly start bumping it up about 5 clicks once you start feeling comfortable with locking it in at that tempo. And when you start to reach that threshold when it feels like it's too fast and you can't play it clean, just take a moment to think back about your technique. Are you squeezing from the lips, or are you pushing air from the diaphragm? Is the airstream consistent, or are you focusing on moving the lips around to get the slurs to happen? You can even take the minute to take the mouthpiece out and work on the slur without the mouthpiece. These are practices that you need to dedicate the time to every day in order to grow better. As long as you're doing these things like the buzzing, the lip slurs, and checking in on your breathing and air technique, it'll start to just naturally lock in, and these slurs will eventually start becoming easier and easier. And it all starts here, working on your fundamentals and getting these things like breathing and slurring to a point where you don't even have to think about it. So when you apply it to your music, it's much more easier to play. So once again, thank you for your time watching this video. I hope y'all are practicing and working on this stuff, so when we all get back together and get on the field, we have a much easier time hitting these fundamentals and getting into the show music. And remember, make sure you hydrate, and please do not dehydrate.